This is an AI-generated discourse.
Welcome to The Explainer. The recent shift to remote learning was, well, a total scramble for everyone, right? But what if it was also this incredible, once-in-a-generation chance to build something better? Today, we're going to dive into a research paper that does just that. It turns those hard-learned lessons into a powerful blueprint for the future of education. You know, the pandemic basically threw the entire world into this massive, unplanned experiment in education. It was messy, it was stressful, and wow, did it show us where the cracks in our old systems really are. But out of all that chaos, a really important question started to surface for educators everywhere. Okay, so let's get into it. A team of researchers in New Zealand, and these guys are kind of the perfect people to ask, they took on this exact question. They decided to look right past the frantic emergency response and start imagining what an ideal future for learning could actually be. And this is why their perspective is so valuable. I mean, this isn't some new fad for them. They've been doing this for a century. Think about it. From mail-in courses back in 1922 to today's virtual networks, they've been figuring out remote education for generations. This deep history makes their findings a really solid blueprint that can be adapted just about anywhere. So what they did was they talked to a bunch of education leaders from all over the country, and they boiled down all those big ideas into 4 core characteristics, let's call them pillars, that would form the foundation of this new system. And look, these aren't just some fuzzy, feel-good ideas. They're a real, tangible blueprint for building an education system that's actually resilient, flexible, and puts the student right at the center of it all. Okay, so here they are. And what's super important to get is that these aren't just 4 separate items on a list. They're all connected. They support each other. You really need all 4 to make the whole structure strong. So let's break each one down. All right, pillar number 1, student agency and choice. This is all about empowering students. It's a huge shift away from that old one-size-fits-all factory model of school. Instead, students get to be active partners in designing their own education, which makes learning way more relevant and, frankly, more exciting. And this quote from one of the educators in the study just nails it. See, it's not about just throwing kids into the deep end and saying good luck. It's about having that guidance, but letting them chase what they're actually passionate about, putting them in the driver's seat. Okay, next up, pillar 2. This one's crucial. The system has to be equitable and inclusive. It has to be built for everyone. Equity can't be an afterthought or an add-on. It has to be baked into the design from the very beginning. The whole point is to use technology to tear down barriers, not build new ones. I love this quote. Distance learning provides learning that is not rationed. That's such a powerful way to put it. Just think about that for a second. Why should a kid's chance to take, advanced robotics or Mandarin be decided by their zip code or how big their school is? This envisions a world where knowledge isn't rationed. Pillar 3 tackles a huge, huge problem we see everywhere, fragmentation. You know how it is, right? You've got the schools over here, online programs over there, community groups doing their own thing. They're all in their own little silos. This pillar is about breaking down those walls and getting everyone to actually work together. And wow, when you put them side by side, the contrast is just stark. On one side, you've got the messy, disconnected system a lot of us have now, and on the other, you have the goal. The seamless, connected network where learning is just learning. It doesn't matter where or how it happens. And last but not least, pillar 4. The system cannot be static. It has to be built to change, to evolve, to innovate. This is about getting way beyond what a lot of people called Zoom school, Just putting a lecture on a video call isn't real innovation. It's about creating entirely new ways to learn. This quote from the study really hits hard, doesn't it? The person is basically saying, hey, we're still stuck doing the same thing we were doing 20 years ago, just on a screen. It's a huge wake-up call that we need to fundamentally rethink how we're using all this technology. Okay, so having this amazing 4-pillared vision is one thing, but the big question is, how do we actually do it? How do we make it real? Well, the great thing is the researchers didn't just leave us with a dream. They gave us a roadmap. And they were smart about it. They broke it down into 2 clear steps. And this is so important because trying to change everything at once is just overwhelming. This way, you've got things you can do right now, like today, while you're also working on those bigger, long-term shifts for the future. So let's make this real. Take that first pillar, student agency. An immediate do-it-now kind of action, Just offer more flexible course choices. Simple, right? But that small win empowers students and builds momentum for the huge, long-term goal, redesigning the whole system where teachers become more like learning architects. All right, so this is where we bring it all home. Yeah, this study came out of New Zealand, but these ideas, they're totally universal. This isn't just about one country. It's a framework that anyone in any community can use to start rethinking and improving their own local education system. So, when all is said and done, what are the big takeaways? First, stop thinking of the pandemic as just this big failed experiment. It was a wake-up call. Second, a better system is totally possible, and it's built on those 4 pillars. Third, remember that 2-step roadmap. You can act now while you plan for the future. And finally, the goal isn't a better factory. It's a true learning ecosystem. Look, this whole framework isn't just some academic exercise. It's a practical tool for you to use. So I want to leave you with this question. Of those 4 pillars, agency, equity, coordination, or innovation, which one do you think could spark the biggest, most meaningful change where you are? Seriously, thinking about that, that's the first step to making all of this a reality for the learners in your life.